Today, Jamaica is setting a trend. It is asking for compensation for historical wrongs. Compensation it is entitled to. Compensation that 54 Commonwealth nations are also entitled to.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Dash Lifestyle. Kindly for watching me for the first time, remember to subscribe, like, share and also comment. To my returning subscriber, thank you so much for always coming back and watching my video. So guys, I want us to watch this video of Jamaicans. They are asking for reparation from the British government. Jamaicans, they are requesting for compensation for the historical wrongs that the British government did to them. So guys, watch this video, then I'll be back with more comments.
It will be from Jamaica. The Caribbean country is asking the British Queen to cough up billions. What for? As reparations for slavery. Quick background. Jamaica was a British colony from 1655 to 1962. The colonizer introduced sugarcane cultivation in Jamaica, and to support it, Britain introduced slaves. People were stolen from their homes and forced to work in the field. Many were shipped across to other countries as part of the transatlantic slave trade. In 1662, there were 400 slaves in Jamaica. By 1734, the number became 86,000. Between 1702 and 1749, nearly 300,000 slaves were imported to Jamaica. More than 100,000 were exported. It was only in the year 1807 that the British Parliament abolished slave trade, and it abolished slavery in 1837. By then, Britain had abducted and enslaved at least 12.5 million people. 12.5 million people enslaved. Many of them were Jamaicans. In 1833, Britain paid off 46,000 British slave owners. They were given £20 million, almost 40% of that time's annual budget. What was this money for? To compensate for the quote-unquote loss of human property. What about these human properties themselves? What did the government give them? Forget compensation. Did Imperial Britain even offer an apology to the slaves and their families? The legacy of the slave trade still stings Jamaica. The country has been asking for justice for some time now. In 2015, then British Prime Minister David Cameron visited Jamaica. Jamaican leaders asked his government to pay reparations. Cameron was told to atone for the historical sin. The Prime Minister refused to even offer an apology. Here's what he said instead. David Cameron told Jamaica to move on. Reports published around that time revealed why he may have been so anti-reparation. Turns out one of Cameron's own family members was among many slave owners to have received compensation for loss of slaves. Jamaica did not give up its fight for justice, though. The Culture Minister recently said, and I'm quoting, "We are especially pleased to announce that we have made further steps in our strides towards seeking reparatory justice for the victims and descendants of the transatlantic slave trade. The petition is being presented to the Queen of the UK and or the government of the UK." Now, we don't know how much Jamaica is asking for exactly, but here's what we can tell you. Britain has a history of denying reparation. In 2014, a coalition of 15 Caribbean countries presented a compensation plan to the UK. They wanted reparation for slave trade. A YouGov survey at that time found that 46% of the respondents in the UK opposed reparations. What about the government? The Foreign and Commonwealth Office said reparations are quote-unquote not the answer for the legacy of slave trade. May I then ask, what is? What's the answer for the legacy of slave trade? After the Second World War, Germany was made to compensate for the damages. In the years since, several companies have had to cough up money for oil spills, for nuclear power plant leaks, for gas leaks, for accidents. And here we are talking about millions of people being abducted and enslaved, but Britain refuses to atone for its inhumanity. And FYI, reparations for transatlantic slave trade could add up to $14 trillion. Of course, the UK refuses to pay. Just like it refuses to return stolen goods, be it India's Kohinoor or Ethiopia's manuscripts. Treasures from British colonies decorate the crown and its properties today. They hang on the walls of its museums and palaces, and the UK sees nothing wrong with any of this. It feels no shame or the moral obligation to at least be apologetic to at least apologize for its historic blunders. Today, Jamaica is setting a trend. It is asking for compensation for historical wrongs. Compensation it is entitled to. Compensation that 54 Commonwealth nations are also entitled to. The Great Britain ruled them all, looted them all. You see, the British Empire was the largest the world has ever seen. It ruled over parts of Africa, Asia, America, Australia and New Zealand. It squeezed all of them. From Africa, it abducted, trafficked and enslaved people. Stole Benin bronzes. From Greece, it stole Elgin marbles. From Ethiopia, manuscripts. And from India, it drained $45 trillion. It is time for reparation. And while the world comes together to make China pay, it must not forget to also demand accountability from the British Crown.
All right, so here we are. We're now celebrating emancipation. But what is emancipation? Well, in 1834, the British colonial masters decided that it was time to free the slaves. But what did that mean? Well, in effect, what they did was to just say, you're now free. And they entered into a period that is called apprenticeship. This is where the slaves would continue to be slaves, but under the disguise that they're being trained to take over their own country. Foolishness. A complete lie. In any event, this so-called emancipation, this so-called end of slavery, this so-called abolition of slavery and the freedom of the slave was nothing but a fake freedom, because the slaves or former slaves were now missing three things. One, they were uneducated because the colonial masters ensured that they kept the slaves uneducated. They were not allowed to read and write. Two, they were without land. The slave owners, the colonial masters, the plantocracy, they kept the land for themselves and denied the slaves, for the most part, any land. So the slaves had no education and no land. And third, they also kept the money that were stolen from the slaves. Remember, they stole our land, they stole our labor, and they denied us education and caused us to become more or less very ignorant over 400 years. That is very debilitating. Now, after 400 years, they say you are now free. But free to do what? You are simply free to go and beg a job, to go back to your original slave owner or to one of the other slave owners and beg them a job. Pretty much like today, while being denied your fundamental basic human right to your land and to the labor that was stolen from you and the freedom to learn. So you were denied the freedom to learn. Compare that to today. Today, you're allowed to learn, but they do everything possible to miseducate you, to misguide you, to mislead you. The government controls your education and they make sure that you're not educated to be the best person you can be, but rather to simply be a cog in the wheel of those who control the economy. You're free to go and beg a job. The government has not returned to you the land that was stolen from your ancestors. And so, just like the slave masters of old, just like the colonizers of old, the very government you have today is perpetuating the same kind of colonial mindset. For the last 80 years, the two colonial parties, yes, and I call them colonial parties because they are, the two colonial parties continue to withhold the land from you, the land that was stolen from your ancestors, the land that is yours by right. They're withholding it from you and forcing you to slave, to work hard, to buy back what is actually yours by right. The UIC is determined to fix this injustice by giving the land back to the people. In our philosophy, no squatter, no day again. Once you are a Jamaican, once you are an indigenous Jamaican, once your parents, your foreparents, your great-grandparents were once slave in this country, then you are entitled to property. And so we're going to make all Jamaicans, real Jamaicans, substantive Jamaicans, originating Jamaicans, we're going to give you back the land that was stolen from your ancestors and make you a landowner not a landholder. They continue to trick us even when you work hard and slave and buy back the very land that was stolen from you. They continue to apply property tax. Property tax is actually an injustice. It means you're a perpetual renter of your land. And as you get older and stressed out and can't find the money, or even die because you're stressed because you can't find the money, then they take the land from you. Now guess what? The UIC is going to abolish property tax so that when you get back the land, when we give you back the land that was taken from your ancestors, you will never ever ever have to pay property tax on that land. It will be yours. Just like when you buy your shoes, you don't pay tax on the shoes every year. Or when you buy a bicycle, or you are free to own this property, and your land should be the same. So the UIC is going to make all Jamaicans, indigenous Jamaicans, property owner, which you then can pass down from generation to generation. That's how you preserve and build generational wealth. So the UIC is committed to reversing what was done to us by those colonial masters and what is still being done to us by the two colonial parties. These two parties are committed to maintaining a modern form of slavery. They have maintained slavery from then until now. From the first election in 1944, which the two of them handily competed in, representing the plantocracy and the colonial masters together, which controlled the media. Just like today, you have the plantocracy today is the PSOJ oligarchs, those rich and powerful companies here that controls the economy, rip off the people, and then use that money to fund these two colonial parties so that they can come and trick you and give you the illusion of a choice. It's not a choice, folks. If you choose one of the party, you're still choosing the PSOJ oligarchy. If you choose the other party, you're still choosing the PSOJ oligarchy. No matter which way you turn, Maka go and juke you, because the PSOJ controls those two parties. And those two parties are also controlled by the colonial masters because they depend on them for loans and grants that they then use to build up their own wealth and assets at our expense, pay back the tremendous interest charges and so on, but controls the economy, controls the politics, block out the UIC from existence as far as they can so that they can maintain a monopoly over you, over your income, over your mind, over your body. Yes, they are controlling you 100%. In fact, controlling us. They control every aspect of our economy while pretending that it's a free market economy. It's not a free market economy. It's a controlled economy. An economy where these two parties, working with the PSOJ oligarchs, makes regulations to protect big business and oppress small business, to make your life more and more difficult so you can't be the best that you can be and build and thrive. No, that must be locked up in the hands of a few. They are gatekeepers working to keep the economy in the hands of a few and the rest of us on the margins of society. We must stop it, and we must stop it now. And there's a way to do it. All we have to do is beat them at their own game. Yes, all of us. Let's join the UIC, which is the People's Party. We're not funded and owned by the PSOJ oligarchy. We're funded and owned by you, ordinary Jamaicans, giving $250 a week, $1,000 a month, or whatever they can give, and joining. So our goal is to build a $500,000 strong, not dollar, 500,000 member strong organization where we the people own this party. So when we're elected, guess what happens? We will run the government, we the people. So what we're saying is join, volunteer, and donate to the UIC. Become a member. Take out your membership today. Get your membership in the UIC and become an active member, paying your dues every month or every week, $250 a week, $1,000 a month. Let us build a mass together, 500,000 of us, and then come election, we will work hard and make sure we elect 63 UIC candidates to take over our government and break down this colonial system, mash it up, throw it out, and take over our country. And then we're going to have now what we call a non-partisan constitutional republic that will protect your life, your liberty, and your property from ever again being stolen by these corrupt individuals. We're going to create a Jamaica that is safe, clean, and orderly. A Jamaica where everyone can live, earn, and retire with dignity. We can do it. We must do it. But first, we have to know our history. They tricked us with fake freedom in 1834. 100 years later, they tricked us with fake democracy in 1944. And 18 years later, they tricked us with a fake independence in 1962. Don't let them trick you again with a fake republic this time. And let us join together, come together as one Jamaica, united, strong, and free. I am Joseph Patterson, the president and founder of UIC Jamaica, and we are going to take back our country, but I can't do it alone. We need you.
So guys, I hope you have watched that video of Jamaica requesting for compensation for the historical wrong for what they went through the slave trade. We all know that Jamaica, it was colonized by the British. For me, what I can tell the British government, it is now the right time for you to compensate these people. We know we have so many people who are disability due to slave trade. We have a lot of people, they still have memories to what happened to their loved one during slave trade, during when you are colonizing Jamaica. So instead of you coming out and saying sorry by giving out this reparation to these Jamaicans, to the family that lost their loved ones, to those people who had disability due to the slave trade, this is now the best way for you to come out and say sorry by giving them a reparation, by compensating them. So if you compensate these people, they will at least reduce the memory of what happened during slave trade. A lot of people, they have what happened during slave trade, and for me, I can tell you that I know British can either deny to give you reparation, because right now they are also still the head of Jamaica. Right now they are still controlling some of the major things in Jamaica. So just to tell you that Jamaica, it is not yet free. Jamaicans, they are still under colonizers, and that's why these colonizers, they are seeing that there is no need of paying this reparation, because they know Jamaica, it is still theirs. Jamaica, it is under British colony. So the Jamaica, it has not yet gained full independence. And also you have heard what our brother, he has come out and say Jamaica was given a fake independence. Jamaica was given a fake freedom. Jamaica, it is not a republic. Jamaica, it is not fully independent. So these colonizers, they are still controlling some of the things in Jamaica. Like for the Jamaica Police Service, they still have shares on Jamaica Police Service. So the colonizers, they still have a lot of they are still controlling a lot of major things in Jamaica, and that's why you can see Jamaica, it is lack behind in terms of development. Jamaica, it is not growing in terms of building more school. The Prime Minister cannot do anything before asking the colonizers, before getting direction from the colonizers, and that's why you can see a lot of things in Jamaica, it is not in order. For example, Jamaica hospital, Jamaica Health, people, they are crying. Jamaicans, they are crying because of the poor health sector, and it is not because of the government, it is also because of the colonizers. They don't want to build more. They don't want the government to build more hospital, because they fear when you people will go, you will get healthy, you might come out and conquer them. And also in terms of school, Jamaica, it is not building so many schools. Why the government, it is not coming out and build more school? They fear for you guys not to get more knowledge. They don't want a lot of you to get more knowledge so that you can know what it is happening. And that's why you can see there is no a lot of schools in Jamaica. There's no a lot of hospital in Jamaica. So also the lack of job, there's no more job opportunity in Jamaica. Why? So many Jamaicans, they are going to look for more opportunity outside their country. We have so many Jamaicans who are in United States, who are in Canada, looking for more opportunity, looking for better jobs, because of the colonizers, what they are doing in their country. They don't want to create more job opportunity. They don't want people they don't want let me just say, they don't want you guys, they don't want the government of Jamaica to create more opportunity for you guys. So this is now what it is happening in Jamaica. And for me, what I can tell you, it is now the right time for you, Jamaica, to stand by your country. It is now the right time for you to chase the colonizers. You guys, it is now the right time for you to chase these colonizers. Jamaicans, you are tired with this, with the colonizers still controlling some of the things in Jamaica. And also when it comes to elect a leader, I know you guys, you're trying so hard to elect leader, but the people who are stalling these leaders, it is the colonizers. The colonizers, they're bringing on these people so that you guys, you can elect them, so that they can be able to control, so that they can control by the colonizers. So this is to tell you that Jamaica, it is not yet free. Jamaicans, you are still under colonizers. No matter what, you are trying so hard to push on for you to get this compensation from the colonizers. The colonizers, they are still denying. They cannot give you this compensation because you are not yet free. You are still under them. And that's why they are doing anything they want. And not only you Jamaicans, also these colonizers, also they ruled, they colonized so many African countries. They took away our precious thing here in Africa. And they documented everything. And how they documented this thing, that right now they're teaching their children how they colonize Jamaica, how they colonize Africa. And that's why you cannot find a white man respecting African nation. You might not find a white respecting Caribbean nation, because of how they are teaching their children the history, how they colonize, how they conquered Africa, how they conquered Caribbean, how they colonize Caribbean, how they treat people during slave trade in the Caribbean. This is the history that they are teaching their children. And for us here, they brought their history here and they left it here in some of the Caribbean, in some of the African countries, so that we are teaching now, until today, we are teaching our children how these British, how these colonizers came in Africa and colonized us. It is the time that we should change the history. We should start teaching our children about black history. The same way in Jamaica. You need to start to teach your children about your black history, where you came from. These people, they have done a lot of bad things in Africa. They have done a lot of bad things in the Caribbean. And they don't want to compensate. But it will be the right time, it is coming for African people to unite, for the black people to unite. And when black people will unite, these people, they will start respecting us. So guys, thank you so much. Kindly subscribe if you haven't. Like this video, share and comment. See you on my next one. Bye bye.